Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Berserk, Bobcat, Saloon radio show on the SHR Media Network, KLRN, Twitch, X, the SHR Media YouTube channel, where I am broadcasting in an actual free state. I am your conservative Sherpa, guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Tonight, part 2, no politics. And please note, what you're about to watch and hear on the show consists of my opinion and my opinion only, and that of my guest again tonight, Alan Thomas, one each. And apparently, from last time, we may have jerked a few chains. Because apparently, some of you let us know that as well, which we find very interesting. Welcome to Squatch Zone in Rumble chat, Cold Warrior in YouTube chat, Sean in YouTube chat. Great to have you guys here tonight. It's interesting because it appears that no matter where my fabulous friend here goes, it seems as though everyone knows him, sees him, or wants to talk to him. And with that, I reintroduce my great guest, Alan Thomas. Now, I should say that Alan has been here for almost 3 weeks here in the BZ household. And just as we did last year, we had him, well, just about this exact same time last year, wasn't it, Alan? We had you for 3 weeks. Now, the biggest difference is that this time around, you don't have to, the labor is few and far between. Last time I was going to get a photo of the black pearl, but that's okay. I'll show it a little bit later, perhaps. Last time you assembled the computer that is right over there that drives this entire show. And anybody who knows me and knows this show knows that I'm about as facile. I know about as much technology as this ring does. And perhaps this ring is actually smarter than I am. So Alan, last time around, he got to see some things. And this time around, there is no black pearl to assemble. So we can do whatever the hell we want for whatever the hell kind of show. And now it's a continuation of last Thursday's show, where we were talking about Sasquatches and UFOs and the paranormal. And of course, as per normal, we didn't get to but a fraction, if any, of that, because we first initially started talking a little bit about UFOs. Then we went to Sasquatches. And then we predominantly spent the rest of the show on Sasquatches, which is kind of cool because after all, it's my show and I can do whatever the hell I want on my show. But little did I know, although Alan probably knew, that what he was saying was extremely popular. So we thought what we're going to do is we're going to pick up where we left off. But we also thought, well, we're not sure if we're going to get to where Alan left off tonight. We might have to wait until the very end of the show. We're hoping we're going to get to where Alan left off last night. We may do about an hour show, maybe a 2-hour show. We're not exactly sure if we have enough material. As he looks over at the tabs aligned over here. Oh, yeah, I've got enough material, baby. So, okay, I'm lying. What we're going to do is we're going to start off where we left off, because up until that point, I'm sure a lot of people go, you bastards. I tuned in tonight because I was fully expecting you stopped last time just before you were getting to the good part about when I first saw this word a long time ago, INFRARED, in my infinite wisdom, probably 45, maybe 50 years ago, I thought the word was infrared. So, and I couldn't figure out what the hell is this infrared stuff? Dummy. It's infrared. So we're going to pick up where we left off. We're going to talk about a lot of Sasquatch stuff. Alan Thomas is the pro, the Sasquatch Bigfoot researcher, investigator, has personal experience with that. I think I had a sighting of one that was probably 5-6 years ago over by Clear Lake in Lake County in California. Always spell it with a K. I may end up having time to go back into that, but people are tuning in tonight, not necessarily to see me. They're here to see Alan. So Alan Thomas, if you would, everybody, this is also interesting. People were actually, some of you were actually irate at the end of the 2-hour show last Thursday, a week ago. People started to bombard Alan with emails and messages saying, "What were you doing? You were just getting to the great part. I was waiting to hear." And then you guys stopped the show. So I find that very amusing. So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here for part 2. Oh God. One thing before we get to part 2. Okay, we went to a restaurant tonight, myself and Mrs. Z. Add the Z after the B. And we went with Alan. And all of a sudden now, Alan is wearing the same T-shirt that he's wearing right there. And it says, "Bigfoot doesn't believe in you either." So it's interesting. It's like Alan is this conversation magnet. He can walk into a store or a restaurant, wherever he is, happiness follows. And that's just kind of the nature of Alan Thomas. And if you've watched his show, then you know what kind of a guy he is. He's a fabulous guy. He's a great friend of mine, and I really enjoy having him up here in the Nofe, Idaho area. So Alan went to the center of the universe last week and made lots of friends. And then we go to this restaurant. And as we go to this restaurant tonight, Alan Thomas, what happens?
Well, I forgot I was wearing this shirt, and I only put this shirt on for this show, right? And I mean, I don't even think about it. Everything I wear has a Bigfoot on it pretty much for a long time. And I'm just sitting there minding my own business, reading what I thought was going to be a good dinner menu, but I was pleasant or not so pleasantly surprised.
It was.
I had a I don't know, it was more like a
weird
microwave dinner. Anyways, the guy walks up and starts telling me about Bigfoot. Like, and I'm like, I looked at him like, I didn't even know where he was coming from. And he said, he's like, "You're sure?" I'm like, "Oh man. Oh, okay. I get it." And he started telling me about Bigfoot, that what he thinks. And he went on and on and on, I was tripping out.
In the meantime, we're hungry. Okay. We're at a restaurant.
Yeah, he gave us the history of it and what he thinks. And he did that several times. Like, he kept coming back, trying to prove his point or something. And I'm not going to argue with him, even though I thought almost everything he said was wrong. Hopefully you're not watching this.
He was the dispenser of the food, and you got to be careful.
Well, he's on to something, but hopefully he looks into it a little more. Before he starts telling the guy that knows almost everything about Bigfoot, not saying I'm an expert. I'm just saying for 30 years, I've been looking into this, from the Indians to the history to my own research to everything I could read on the internet. I might not know anything else, but at least I know what you can know about the Bigfoot.
So I just find it interesting that Alan, it's like wherever Alan goes, especially if he's wearing a t-shirt of some sort or a hat, whatever he happens to be wearing, people clue into him immediately. Well, hell, let's be honest. Alan is very friendly, and I don't think, I've said this before, so I'm not here to blow up Alan's skirts or anything, because I've said it numerous times. It's not like I'm saying anything new. Guaranteed, if you'd never seen Alan before and you walked into a room and there he is over there standing, and if you walk over and begin to engage him in a conversation in, I don't know, 10 or 15 seconds, one of the first things you'd think is, hey, I kind of like this guy. He's a real likable sort. And you can't help but feel that way. So people gravitate to him. They tell him a lot of stuff. And that's how he gets information. Because again, we went to I guess you'd call it a furniture store. And one of the first things that happens is in a furniture store in North Idaho, Alan Thomas walks in with Mrs. BZ and somehow manages to find the only guy in the store who knows anything about Sasquatch and Bigfoot. And then, Alan Thomas, what happened after that? You tried to get him to come here, I think.
Yeah. Only he's not ready yet. But only he had some. I mean, this thing was looking in his window, and so I want to talk to him again real soon about. He said something about that he didn't want to tell his kids about it. We need to tell his kids, and we got to keep that thing from looking in his window. So I will get with him again. It is weird how that happens. Like, we went to Sandpoint just the other day, and I'm just being me, just like having a good time, looking around, ask about a leather bag. Next thing I know, I'm in the back of the store in this lady's leather shop, and she's sharing everything with me. I was like, wow. And I was all jazzed, and I went to the next shop, and I'm looking at furniture. I ask how much, and she tells me, and then she starts telling me she needs a leather guy. I'm like, wow, really? Like, I make leather stuff. Next thing you know, she's asking me to send her leather things to sell, and almost couldn't get out of that store. But he's right, man. Everywhere I go, I'm not even trying, really. I am not pursuing this.
It's true. Yeah. If you were to be an uninvolved spectator of some sort, and you almost didn't really know anything about Alan, and you watch Alan interact with other people, but let's say you see Alan with a t-shirt that says Bigfoot or Sasquatch, he literally draws people out of their comfort zone and over to him, and they start telling him stuff that, like, for example, this guy, I tried to get this guy. Okay, you don't have to be on video. You could just call in on the telephone. We're not going to make fun of you because, we do this stuff. This is what we do. This is one of the things that I enjoy. And still there's an aspect of this UFOs/UAPs. I call them UFOs. They're kind of being mainstreamed right now a little bit. But when you get to the point where you're talking about Sasquatch or Bigfoot, or I saw something, and I've got some videos that I'm going to be showing a little bit later, then there is still a reticence of some people to come out and say and tell others, not keep it to themselves, but tell others the tale of what they actually experienced. And so there's just this, there's still something attached to Bigfoot and Sasquatch that people are not exactly ready to just tell their tales. Some are not. Some don't want to have their names attached or anything like that. But if you're out there and Alan Thomas is anywhere near you, whether it's in North Idaho or California, we spell it with a K, and you'll see this aura around this guy. And if you're interested in Bigfoot or Sasquatch, you'll recognize him immediately.
You know what I forgot to add? In Sandpoint, with the little girl and she was a young girl, but had been doing leather 15 years. That blew me away.
Yeah.
But she was asking about my information, like how can we hook up later to talk leather? And I gave her the card that your wife made me, and it has a Bigfoot on it. She's like, "Oh, you know about Bigfoot?" Like, yeah. And then she says, "My dad saw one when I was a kid," and starts going into this story about Bigfoot. Yeah, I mean, like that fast. It happens like that fast. And I wasn't asking, honest. I am not asking anybody anything. I'm just standing there in awe, just like everybody else.
Again, the first time you came here, people came up to you in the airport.
And they knew Nate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's another. There's a friend of the show and of me, and now that we've met him personally, we have physically met Nate Rudd, and we've gone out to dinner, and we've been on the show. Nate has been on the show before with Edward Manji and a host of other people, and Nate is just great people, but Nate's name was known in that was Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, Las Vegas. I mean, it happens everywhere. Like we were in Who Hot last time.
Oh, yeah.
Standing in line, the guy goes, "Hey, are you from Montana?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "Oh." And then we go a couple of more feet, and then he turns around, he goes, "Hey, you're the Bigfoot dude." He goes, "That's where I seen you before," and then we start talking Bigfoot. Yeah, like that happens everywhere. It's cool. Even if I don't have a Bigfoot shirt, it's kind of weird.
And I'm not known for anything except for being old and ugly and ancient.
I'm getting there.
That's a story for another day. Anyway, in the last show, Alan Thomas was telling us about Bigfoot, because if I don't hurry up and get to this, all the people that are watching right now are saying, "Get to it! Yeah. Get to the stuff! Stop farting around!" So, Alan Thomas, could you continue where you were talking to people about things infrared?
Yeah, well, I was reminded by a few people as well, like where I left off so that I don't forget and I started in the right place. So I went back and looked to make sure that I start in the right place. And we were talking about infrared, and I had got past the security cameras where that was our first try at infrared. And we started realizing that they can move really quick. So when we turn on the camera, they could be out of, even though they're in like a range of the camera really close, but by the time we turn everything on, they were out of range. And it was like they knew where the light ended. And the only way they could do that is see it. But we hadn't figured that out. So we decided we were going to use game cameras. Jeff and Dave caught a huge one on a game camera. Only I think it knew the camera was there, but it was way off from the camera, and something else set that camera off. And it happened to be full on in the camera, but it was pretty far away from the camera. And if you know game cameras, anything close, they can see really good. Anything real far, you can't see really good. But you can tell that's what it is. So with that, all that information that we have, we started hanging game cameras. And at first, the game cameras were, we thought, like malfunctioning. Things were happening. Things were missing. Like sometimes a game camera would be missing or be broken. So then we started putting 2 game cameras facing each other and putting the bait in the middle, and same thing was happening. So then we put 3 game cameras, and also climbing up the tree. Jeff would climb way up, like 18 feet up, and put these cameras, but all 3 looking at where they each can see each of the cameras. All 3 cameras could see the other cameras. Put a pile of apples. The ones with the little stickers. When we went to retrieve
Which
those,
are good apples.
yeah, and they like apples, right? They like them. We found that out other ways, but we're talking cameras. So, but using the apples to get them into the camera. Well, then, the cameras would take blank pictures, just dark black pictures. So they were working, and there's the apples and a bird looking at the apples and a deer sniffing at the apples. Then all of a sudden, every camera would have 7 or 8 black pictures. And then all of a sudden the camera would start working again. We're looking at the SD card. So there's the apples, everything's going, a few pictures, then a series of black pictures on every one of them. And then it would start working again, and the apples are gone. So then we're right there looking. We have the laptop and we're looking at the SD cards. So we go back to look at the apples, where the apples were, and we're looking, and there's a pile of stickers. So something sat there.
Okay.
Something sat there and pulled the stickers off, ate the apples, and took a series of black pictures while it was doing that. And then the camera started working again perfectly. So like that, we gave up even trying to use the cameras. The cameras could not catch them at all. We could not catch them. So that's when we started going into thermal cameras, and we've had a little bit of luck with thermal cameras, and we still haven't caught the $1 million video, but we have had them on the thermal cameras. We just didn't have it on record. And then everybody's like, why don't you have it on record? Do you know what it's like when you're near something so big and fast and can disappear in front of your eyes? It can mimic voices, any kind of animal, owls. It can mimic doors, car doors. It can mimic anything. Like, this thing's powerful, fast, graceful, has abilities we don't know what it is. When you're in the range, when you're close to one, sometimes the last thing you're thinking is record. You're more like thinking, oh shit. That's what you're thinking. Oh shit. And then when you have it on the thermal, you're like, oh my God, I got it. And then after everything, you go back to play it and you realize you didn't hit record. It's not easy. It's not easy to think, hit record or pull. You could have your cell phone in your hand and be having an encounter. I guarantee you the last thing you're going to think of is that cell phone. You're like, what is it? Oh my God, that's what it is. And then you're standing there going, oh shit. That's what you think. Oh shit. And then like afterwards, like, damn, I had the cell phone. That's how it goes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Let me go back to something that you mentioned a while ago, and the people who know you know this of you, and that's part of and I think this incidents twice have something very seriously to do with your reception, and I'll get to that in a moment, what I mean. Alan Thomas has told us on the show any number of times that because of an operation, and I don't know if he wants to get that detailed into it, but he died twice on the operating table in front of doctors. Any number of things, that turned his life upside down on a whole host of other things that we're not going to get into tonight. But I think that also had a great deal to do with your ability to be receptive to all sorts of things, to various senses that maybe some other people like myself would not ordinarily possess. you've come close to death. That's, an entirely separate story. But of the things that you've said, Alan Thomas, that has indicated to me that if there's something around that's unique, you'll find it, hear it, see it, sense it. And so a lot of things just kind of innately come to you, experiences that in many occasions, I look at you and I think, I don't get to see all this cool stuff. I've only seen a couple of things.
Well, you're making me think of something though while you're talking about that.
You got the spirit? Let's hear it.
Well, what we were just talking about, the guy at the restaurant, everywhere I go, like has something to do with that too? Because
that's a good question.
I noticed babies, they just flock to me. Animals lay all over me.
That's true here.
Once they figure me out, man, they're all over me. I can't get rid of them. They're laying all over me. People coming up to me, horses. It doesn't matter. So I wonder if that has anything to do with dying, because I don't think I had that till after that.
Well,
yeah, that's kind of interesting.
That incident, I firmly believe that people like you, not me. I think I'm kind of limited. I would love to have had the opportunity to have all the experiences that you have had, except I'd rather not go through the dying part, especially twice.
Yeah.
That would be a horse of a different color. Anyway, we're going to take a break. I'm BZ.
It didn't hurt. Just remember that. It didn't hurt.
Okay.
Didn't hurt.
Are you're talking about being on the table?
Yeah, it didn't hurt at all. Dying didn't hurt.
Okay.
Coming back hurt more than anything.
I think that's kind of important. I think that's actually very important. Anyway, I'm BZ. That's Alan. We're going to be right back after this. If you want to hit the electric winkle chamber, maybe grab a drink or something like that. We got another hour and a half to go. So please, if you would, come right back. Hello?
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Welcome to River of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a sharp wit and clear discussion. Tune in every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a refreshing dose of reality as we fearlessly tackle the tough topics with no nonsense, just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com to discover where you can catch River of Common Sense in action. He's here to amplify your inner logic. He may not always be polite, he may not always be refined, but one thing's for sure, he always tells it like it is.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thank you very much for being here tonight. It's 8:32 Pacific. It's about 10:32 Central and 11:32 on the east far right coast, which is really bizarre because the eastern seaboard is not right at all. On any number of levels, it's not right. I'm BZ. We're talking to Alan Thomas. Alan Thomas is here tonight, and we are talking, mostly right now, we're talking Sasquatch and finishing up some stories from last time. When we were last interrupted, I was remarking to Alan that I think his having, I think those are called NDEs, near-death experiences, on a table because of, this is my show, in my opinion, medical malfeasance. Again, another story for another day, but that tended to, and just confirm for me, that made you, I guess a word would be susceptible, sensitive, whatever appellation you wish to throw against the tree, to lots of things, one of which is Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and UFOs. We can go into UFOs later, that kind of thing. But you said, and I found this very interesting, is just as we were leaving, it's like, okay, cliffhanger, time for a break. It doesn't hurt. What was that like? You said there's no pain.
There's no pain there. You just kind of pop out and there's no pain. But when you get back, you have to squish into yourself or like get into yourself. And then there's all the pain. Then there's all the pain when you get back. But when you're there, like I didn't even know where I was. But when I got back, I knew where I was when I got thrown back to here. He wouldn't let me stay. You know, I had things to do.
And so do you think that makes you a better vessel through which to experience a lot of things that otherwise people like me don't get to feel or encounter?
I never thought of it like that until the way you were talking about it, you know, is like, especially, I don't even think I would have put it together if we didn't talk about the guy at the restaurant, you know, and all that. And it was like, wait a minute, because the babies stare at me in the stores. They crawl up in my lap in the doctor's office. The dogs like get all over me. Horses lean on me. Even people tell me, hey, watch out for that dog. It bites and it's licking my face. You know, all kinds of, and then the shadows and the things I see, even the UFOs. I didn't really have anything going on until the last 20 years. And it was about 20 years ago when that happened. So I have a lot to think about now. You know, I really never thought about it like that.
Well, then you have 20 years of a wide range of experiences. Because, like I said, Alan, well, first, tell people, if you would, you have a wide range of experience, a wide range of TV, podcast, video. I for some reason, I forget all the stuff that you have done on video. You've known a wide range of people. You know, if you were to sit down with Alan Thomas someday and try to poke his brain and see what kind of life he's led, it's just absolutely 100% intriguing. But you've been exposed, you know, right now we're talking about Sasquatch, Bigfoot, but you've had paranormal stuff too, right?
Oh yeah.
You've had other creature experiences, not just Bigfoot, Sasquatch.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You've had UFO. I'm not even going to call them UAPs. That UAP is for people that, you know, other UFO experiences of just a wide range. And I think your closeness, and let me ask you this, you're a man of faith. You're kind of like me. I talked about this a while ago. I said, I believe in God, not man. I'm not a churchgoer. I'm not a big joiner. But you also, Alan Thomas, you are a man of faith.
Right. Yeah. But I'm not a go to church guy. Like the history of it. One thing about, for me with life is, a lot of people tell me it's, man, you're the biggest bullshitter in the world, right? Like, there's no way that you could do or experience all those things in one lifetime. And then I think, I've hung out with people. I've hung out with some people that have done 100 times more than me, but only it's because of what they do, right? They're movie stars and stuff like that, so they have access to the money to be able to do it. People invite them places. They travel around the world. I mean, they experience things like so I'm not even anywhere near that, but I have, all the way from since a kid, had this really spectacular life that and I always like put it to no woulda, shoulda, couldas, right? I don't have a woulda, shoulda, coulda. Like, where I'm going to look back and say, I wish I woulda, or I wish I coulda, or I should have done this. When you come to these places in your life where you have the opportunity, or you make a decision, to go that way, I think of no woulda, shoulda, coulda, and then I pick the no woulda, shoulda, coulda. I do it that way. When I look back, I'm like, I wish I would have did that, right? I do it, and it's taken me far. And so that part, like traveling around the world, going to Africa, having guns stuck up your nose, like robbed by the military. I mean, I could go on hot air ballooning, all kinds of stuff, like no woulda, shoulda, couldas mostly, but also no paranormal anything, just regular old,
right?
Making a choice that I'm going to do it so that I can't go back and say, or I can't look back and say, I wish I would have did that. I don't have that. So, but after I passed, or after I went somewhere, that's actually where I became a man of faith, even, because you can't go there and see what you see and then come back and not believe anything, because you don't die. I don't think anyone does. You carry on, right? You go somewhere, and you realize all these things that you heard or read, or movies you saw, or things people talk about, it's real. Just like Bigfoot's real, just like all the other stuff is real, even though everybody makes fun of it and says it's not.
Well, the other thing that I find interesting is the fact that your world seemed to open up to you even more so following your passing on the operating table, and that's, I'm glad I didn't have to go through that experience, but it's also made your perception of things has just greatly expanded, then I'm guessing buttressed by your faith.
Right. Yeah, because I know there's no doubts, like before, like, if you're real, God, there's none of that anymore. It's more like, and because of of the things that I experienced after, you go through life and there just can't be that, right? There isn't, that's fake, it can't be there. So like we were talking about in the restaurant, I made a wall, I made a believe place, right? This is real, that all that over there, that is not real, it's fake, it's pretty funny, but then I would meet people, hear stories, I would experience something, and then that would blow that paradigm gone, right? And then all of a sudden it's like I have to regroup. Okay, so that's real, but only that's not real, okay, I'll believe this, and then I'll go a little while and I'll experience something and people will talk to me, and it seems like I'll meet people and they'll tell me stories of what I just experienced, and then all of a sudden, boom, that's gone, right? And what I experienced on the other side, now I'm at everything could be real, right? The possibilities are wide open. There is no, I'm pretty well open, and maybe they might not be telling you exactly how it really goes, but they experienced something and they saw something, or I experienced something and I saw something, and it just means I can't explain it how it really, but like I don't know what it is, but only I know it's there and I know it exists. I just don't know much about it yet. But as life goes on, I'm learning a little bit more and a little bit more, a little bit more. Like angels and all this kind of stuff. Like I hardly knew anything. Now I do. I know a lot more. And I also read everything that you could get, your internet, books, whatever. I read everything that I can to try to figure it out.
In the cop world, I spent 42 years as a cop. I retired in 2016. In the cop world, you would be what is considered to be a shit magnet. There are certain cops that can go, will go, do go anywhere. And if there's crap, if they can find crap, get involved in crap, or it actively seeks them out, there are cops like that. Luckily, I was not the Mark 1 Model 1 shit magnet, although I had enough experiences. You're kind of like that, although not necessarily in a horrible way. You've had your encounter in passage, but you said something just the other day that I found very interesting, and I'd like to talk very briefly about it right now, because you and I are kind of on the same wavelength with regard to this. You said something similar to, I'm going to paraphrase, you said, you know what? If I go tomorrow, I'm happy. I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm totally. Like and
because
I feel like there's no pain, and actually where I'm going is actually the goal, right? This is like a playground over here where we learn to play together. Over there is where your real life begins. Like, think of it like if you have a mile-long rope, okay? But really, you don't know the end of the rope, but you're at the beginning of a rope that you can't see the end of. And in the first part of the rope, there's 1 inch of tape wrapped around it. That inch of tape represents where we are. And when we get to the end of that inch of tape, then we transfer over to the other part of the rope, right? We passed the tape, now we're going onto the rope, but the rope doesn't end. So now you don't die. You're not ever going to die. You don't die when you pass from the tape to the tape end of the part of the rope. You just go to another section of that rope. Now, I don't know if farther down, if the rope changes colors or, gets another piece of tape or something like that. All I know is from this little section that we're on of this part of the rope, going to the next part of the rope, it's like everyone's going to do it. Everyone, you go in with nothing. You come into that section of rope with nothing. screaming and kicking, and some people go out of this section of the rope screaming and kicking, but they all go out the same way, and everyone's appointed to go. I don't know anyone that has stayed yet. You know what I mean? Everybody goes. Everyone passes. It's not something to fear at all. Don't be afraid of it. We don't die. We don't die. And this isn't the end all of everything right here that we have. And actually, everything we have doesn't even matter, right? You can't take it with you. You might as well enjoy every last second of it while you're here. Because when you get over there, it's even like you can see what's cool. When you get over there, over here, we only can see a certain band of light. So like the infrared, we can't see. The ultraviolet, we have boundaries on what we can see, what we can smell, what we can hear. When you get over there, what I found in the little bitty time that I was there, I could see all the light. So like when people say it's undescribable when you go over there, the colors, well, it's because you can see the whole, like I don't even know if it's the full range of light. You see a whole lot more than you do here. The sounds, you hear more sounds, frequencies than you hear here. We're really limited here, even though we think we're all that in a bag of chips. We're nothing compared to over there. I actually look forward to over there. But I'm not crying over here because the worst thing that could happen, what's the worst thing that could happen over here? You die. Right? That's what everybody thinks. Oh no, it's gonna kill me. I'm gonna die. Guess what? That's not the worst thing that can happen. All that means is you're over there. And then you're seeing more light, you're feeling more things, you're seeing more things, you're experiencing a whole nother dimension. And you could also see this dimension. So like we can't see that dimension, but when we're in that dimension, we can see this dimension. That's how come there's no ghosts. There's no ghost. If you died and you went over there, what's the worst thing that could happen? Like they say, oh, they're watching over me and everything. No, they're not. They could give a shit what you're doing because they can see what you're doing anytime they want. And then what's the worst thing that could happen? You die. Guess what? Then you're with them. Like, that's probably the best thing that could happen to them. Then you're over there, right? Like, so, and my grandpa came and visited me and my grandma. No, they don't. They don't. They can look and see what you're doing right now. What's doing that over here? What's doing that is something that's stuck here. And if you read the Bible will tell you what's stuck here. Demons are stuck here. And they don't die either, right? They're alive. So that means they were with your grandpa, your grandma, your great uncle. They've been here for your great grandpa. They know everything about your family. When somebody comes familiar to you, bringing the sound of their voice, the smell of them, the feeling of them, that's them. They know you and your family upside down and backwards. They're coming as a familiar thing. They're only there to destroy, cause problems in your relationships, destroy your family, hurt your job, make you sick. That's what they're here for. Those people over there, they might watch it, but they know if the worst thing happens, like you die, then you're over there with them. They absolutely do not. I did not care. I looked back at my family, but I knew if I had to stay there, I knew I didn't have to worry about a thing because no matter what happens to them, eventually they're going to be there. And to me, it will seem like no time because it didn't feel like there was time. Like that, I don't even know how to describe that or the sounds or the colors but I can tell you, I looked at my family and I was like, I wonder how long before they get here. And there was so much to see and do. And I knew whenever it was time, they would be with me sooner or later, because I was seeing other people that was before me, right? That went before me off this end of the rope to that end of the rope, you know? So like, it was like, we need to like think of it like that. We really need to think like that. Like, people need to quit seeking out, like the Bible says, don't look for dead people. Don't entertain them. Why does it say that? Because they're not here. They're not here. I guarantee you. If you die, you might wander around for a little bit, but you will eventually go to the light. You'll go, and probably faster than ever. I didn't even go through the light. I wound up there, you know, like 1 minute I was here, the next minute I was over there, and I was like looking around going, holy cow, like what in the world? Like, where am I? And then I started thinking like, ooh, I would love to check that out. As soon as I thought it, I was there. And it could have been 500 miles away. But instantly, I went from there to there. And then I freaked out like, oh my God, what if I was supposed to meet somebody? I should have never left. As soon as I thought that, bam, I was right back over there. And 2 light beings are standing there. I'm like, what do you? And then they started asking me, are you done? I'm like, done doing what? I started feeling guilty. You know, what was I doing? I don't know. But that's what I mean. Like, I see life way different over here. Way different. I still am interested though. Like, what is the Bigfoots? Like, what are they? What is the UFOs? Are they bad angels, good angels? Like, did God make other creations that, you know, like, so I'm way interested in looking into all of it, because I think he made a bunch of mysteries for us to solve.
So basically what you're saying is that Blue Oyster Cult was right. Don't fear the Reaper.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
And you don't have a fear of death.
No.
The weird thing about it is I don't have a fear of death either, but that's not because I'm particularly informed, either ill or not. It's because I've done a sufficient amount of things on this planet that I don't have anything to prove to anyone. I don't care about proving anything to anyone. I do this show because it's fun for me. I'm not doing it for anyone else or the money or the fame. There is no fame. There is no glory. I do this because it's entertaining and it's fun as hell to talk to you and other cool people like you. And as I've said to Mrs. BZ and any number of people, you know, if I cack tomorrow, I will have done more junk than and a ton of stuff that no one but me and God know about. And just all these experiences that I've managed to have over the years. I'm not here for anybody else anymore. I'm good with me. I'm happy with me. You can look at me and see that I'm morbidly obese. I'm ugly. I'm bald. I have cancer. Any number of things. And I don't really give a crap. You know, I can cack tomorrow. My factory issued heart attack could occur on the show as I walk out the door. I'm jiggy with it.
You know,
I believe in God. I don't believe in man. I'm ready, and until that happens, and here's how this is funny. This is how I know I'm going to go. Just because of the nature of all the stupid stuff that I've pulled. And
I'm game for that. I did the same.
There's a lot of it, but just because of the nature of how life is going to be with me when I go, it's like my father told me that he wanted to live longer than his father. His father's name was Verto, and my dad's dad passed away walking around on the front yard, and he dropped like a rock.
That's the best way to go, I think.
And then gone.
Yeah.
And there are those who
Go to sleep.
are
and then don't wake
sufficiently,
up, you know?
right with God, or however that rolls, that will go to bed and wake up dead. And there's just something in the back of my brain housing group going, dude, when you go, it's going to be embarrassing, it's going to be dangerous, and it's going to be really, really painful.
Nah,
But I don't care.
you won't. You know, it's really.
I don't care.
You want to hear something that this is what blows me away on the whole thing, like the church or the religious people. I'm not going to say church, I'm just going to say religions, right? Religions, all of them, they make it impossible to make it to heaven. That, like, you got to do this and you got to do that, and you got to, like, you got to live right, you gotta right. But in how we look at it, we're on this side of it, listening to all this stuff, and we're going, I ain't got a chance in hell.
That's what I was thinking.
I ain't got a chance in hell. There's no way I'm making it out of here the right way, because I don't even know the right way. I mean, they made it like I can't do all that stuff. I cannot do it, and I won't. Half of it, I don't even want to. Like, it's like, you got to do that? Ha! I ain't. I'm going to go party with the devil. And that's what you hear people say. I'm going to go party with the devil. Fuck that. I ain't doing none of that shit. But when you get over there, you realize that's all a bunch of BS. They're just blowing smoke up your butt, man. They're just making themselves really important. There's only one thing that you got to worry about. One. And it doesn't mean you got to give up anything. You don't got to buy anything. You got to try anything. All you got to do is know that Jesus was the dude that died for everybody. He's the door in there. So all you got to do is believe in him. That's it. I'm telling you, that's it. The good news, the Bible people, they tell you, I'm going to tell you the good news. First, they tell you, oh yeah, you got to believe in Jesus. He's the door. But then you got to stop doing this. You got to stop doing that. You got to stop. That's your lessons in life. All that stuff you go through, it makes you. That's who you are. God's not going to say, get the fuck out of here. You drank too many beers, or you know what? You smoked weed. You did this, you did that. You loved girls. Guess what? He made us to love girls and girls to love guys. That's normal. That's normal.
Folks, when we come back, I'm BZ. You're listening to and watching BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. That's Alan Thomas. When we come back, I have a question for Alan. So it's the top of the hour, 9 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Central, midnight Eastern, because this is, after all, a late night talk show. When we come back, I have a question about learning for Alan Thomas. And just when you thought this is going to be a Bigfoot Sasquatch show, the cool thing about this show is these types of shows, when I don't do politics, is they can go anywhere, and they usually do.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Join me right here on the SHR Media Network every Monday and Friday, 12 on the Pacific, 3 on the East Coast. On this show, we'll discuss news, politics, the government, how cranky we are about the government, and more. If you want to hear hard talk, good interviews, sarcasm, bad jokes, and oh God, that really is me in a nutshell. Either way, check me out right here on the Edge of Liberty every Monday and Friday, 12 Pacific, 3 on the East, on the SHR Media Network.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom. just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? And check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with Seven Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, passion.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. I'm back. I'm BZ. This is Alan Thomas. Once I put him up on stage, there he be. And tonight, this show is going anywhere it wants. And there are lots of people listening right now and watching. I greatly appreciate it. And that's generally because Alan Thomas is such a great and very cool cat. And I told everybody before the break that I wanted to ask Alan something because Mrs. BZ has her own beliefs and other people have their own belief systems and whatnot. One of the things that I wanted to ask you, Alan Thomas, is some people say that. What's that? Oh, what is it?
That?
Yeah. What is it?
Whoops.
Oh, the phone.
I'm putting it over it's sitting over this wire.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'll set it over here.
Yeah, put it over there.
Hey,
Some
I was
people-
wondering, it was driving me crazy. I'm like, what's making that noise?
Yeah, I know. That's a good question. One of the big things that I've had any number of people tell me is, and this lends itself to the R word. And yeah, we were going to talk about Sasquatch. And yeah, I've got a shit ton of videos over here that I could be playing right now. But one of the things that some folks have said is that you're here on the planet to learn a lesson. Now, what that lesson is going to be doesn't apply to anyone but you.
Right.
There's a lesson to learn. Maybe you have 2 lessons to learn. Maybe you have 10 lessons to learn. Maybe you only have 1, and maybe you don't learn that lesson until just before you die.
Sometimes.
So to me, if I'm kind of thinking like that makes me wonder, okay, well, are we talking about the R word? Are we talking about reincarnation? Are we talking about we'll come back? Are we talking about, if you read history, one of the guys that I thought was just a strange contradiction, massively contradictory, was this guy named George Smith Patton. Hey, we've got a call. Let me see if this is somebody that is calling about the show. Hello, unidentified caller. I don't have a show screener or a call screener. Are you calling about the show? Oh, somebody hung up. Okay, that's all right. Hey,
they're like, what? The show?
I know.
Oh, shit.
If you were calling into the show and wanted to ask a question of Alan or myself, please, if you would, call back. I've got the phone over here watching. But the dealio is, in your perception of what happened, because you can only talk about you and your specific experiences, and then that lends itself to your belief system. But does our purpose, one of many perhaps purposes here, Alan Thomas, does it involve about, okay, why am I here? Is there a lesson to be learned? How do I learn that lesson? And then maybe once I've learned that lesson, does that mean that this mortal coil, this mortal plane, I'm done here, I'm never coming back? Or does reincarnation come into play? And the reason I mentioned General George Smith Patton is he was a believer in reincarnation. He believed that he was present on this planet to experience a major war. And when he wasn't involved in war, he was depressed until the point that he was involved in war. He actually believed that he was a returning general from Carthage, if you read any of the books about him. So he's an intriguing character, died too early, died in a suspicious car crash. Okay, enough of him, but are we here to learn something? Did God say, I fill you with life? There you go. Boom. You're on the planet. Now run along. Or are you here for a purpose?
Well, I believe you're here for a purpose. I don't know if you come back though.
Okay.
Question,
because I sure as hell don't know.
When you start considering the universe and how big it is and how they think they know the size of it and they really don't, and then you start adding dimensions to it, why would we just get stuck in this right? I think we're here for a reason. And when you get over there, there's this thing called a life review. And what it does is it runs you from your birth to when you're standing there. You feel every positive thing you did, good thing, little things, and you feel every negative thing you did. And you also feel it like how you not only feel how it affected somebody, you feel their effect, and you also feel how it had its effect on other things, almost like throwing a little rock in the pond and it makes ripples going out. You get to see what you said or did, how it made the ripples, right? And it could be good or bad. But you're not like, oh boy, I'm getting judged. You're judging your own self right there. They're just showing you. They're showing you what your effect was in this little piece of rope that you're in at that point. And most of the time, everything I know, anyways. You learn something from that, right? When you come out of that life review, you're ready to go to the next piece of rope or the next, whatever dimension, wherever you're going. And so that was your learning experience here. And to a lot of people, and I think the church does it to everybody too. Like, hey, you know what? I preach the gospel all over the world and I need a $10 million jet. And God told me that you need to give 10% of your income so I can have this jet and this mansion and a Harley and a ranch and a home over here and a Bentley. But only, that's God. You can't outgive God. Right? You just give until it hurts. I know you're only on Social Security making $1,200 a month, but at least give 10%. Everybody give 10% because then I'd be able to preach the gospel all around the world. It's BS. It's all BS. What I learned was the things you do out of your heart. That's actually what you're supposed to be doing, not so much giving your money. I mean, it could mean giving some money to somebody, but when you're being generous and you're doing things because you like doing it, that's where you're actually learning to actually be ahead in the other side. If you're not doing that and you're more the guy that's saying, hey, give me your 10%, and you're blowing it, like how I learned when I was over there was, all the things you acquire over here is like getting that reward here, right? You're trying to enjoy everything over here, and this is temporary. You can't take it with you. But when you get over there, you're not moving on anywhere else, right? You're not moving on anywhere else. Over there, everything you acquire over there, and when you step into that one, unlike here, where you step in with nothing and then you earn your way to whatever, over there, you step into rewards for how you did here. And you could either earn, but in all of it, it's not like working or earning your way to heaven or anything. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when they get over there, they're like, dude, you learned the lesson. You like, that was so cool here. Let me show you what, like you gave up all this stuff over there. You gave it up. You actually like sacrificed it. You could have just told everyone no, and you could have kicked people to the curb, and you could have just sat on it and not did anything with it, and you just gave it up and said, you know what, you need it worse than me here. And when Jesus was saying, when somebody comes and asks to borrow something, he says, hey, can I borrow a coat? And you give him your shirt too, right? I mean, he's teaching you how your heart, it's a heart thing. Everything is heart, your heart. So that is the lesson that we're learning, is to learn the lessons of the heart on this side. That's what we're learning, to be on the other side.
Well, we have a caller, and this
Cool.
is an individual that has called the show here before. And Mike, is that you?
That would be me, BZ.
Long time no hear. How have you been, sir?
I've been fine, and you're right about that thing. And think about this. You're talking about what you do and how you do it in life. There's this Hallmark movie that, what's her name? Candace Cameron Ray stars in. And her big saying in this movie is that, even the smallest stone causes a ripple. All right, meaning even the smallest thing you do can cause a ripple. So it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how big it is. It's going to cause a ripple somewhere.
That's 100% right. It does.
Yeah.
And it's all about your heart, man. It's all about your heart. And and I'm not bagging on churches. If you feel like that's in your heart to give to a church, give to the church. I mean, that's coming from your heart, right? Don't do it because you feel like you got to be whipped into it. That's the part I'm talking about. If you feel like that ain't it, then don't do it. But if your heart is telling you do it, listen to it. And that's on everything.
Would it be accurate? And I don't know. This is bizarre. This just popped into my wheelhouse. Is it something like, and you were mentioning, you were likening it to a rope and maybe an inch of tape. But is it so huge that what we do here is not unlike a grain of sand on a million beaches? That's how significant our time is here, when everything else is there.
Well, I think like how from research and praying and everything, this side, it's just a temporary thing. It wasn't meant to be, though.
Was not meant to be temporary.
Not meant to be. When Adam and Eve were created, they were created to be immortal. And then some events happened and they lost that. And God told them, now you're going to die. But he meant the flesh was going to die. But then Jesus came and he bought that back. He bought the death part. He took the sting of death away. He shed his blood. He was the last sacrifice. And now we're at the end of the age now, We're at the end of the time where he's getting ready to come back and give it back to everyone. And that's where he talks about, where people talk about the rapture, they're going to change in a twinkling of an eye, right? Well, what's going to happen is everybody's going to get their immortal body that we lost, that we were created to be in the beginning. We're going to get all that back, our inheritance. And we don't even know what all that we lost. We have no idea, and we don't know what we're going to gain back.
Right. Now, as far as the UFO stuff that might or might not be out there, I think what's going to happen is, in all the Trump has declassified a bunch of stuff. I think a bunch of stuff that's going to get declassified. It's not just going to be the JFK, RFK stuff, but it's going to be a lot of stuff about UFOs and stuff, and other unexplained phenomenon that might very well be out there that the government has been covering up for years, for decades, and it may be stuff like there really is a Bigfoot, which you already know, but the government has yet to acknowledge that there's actually a Bigfoot or Sasquatch or whatever, So a lot of this stuff that's been classified for years and years and years and years and decades, that the government doesn't want to acknowledge is out there, might very well be declassified by Trump when he gets into the office, and thus the government acknowledges that a lot of the stuff that people have seen, with a wheel within. By the way, there's a whole thing with a wheel within a wheel that's in, I believe, Ezekiel or whatever. That kind of describes a UFO, the way people have described UFOs over the years. A wheel within a wheel, right?
Yeah. That's what it is. You know what's happening is we're at the end of the age. And I think the governments know, and the churches and some of the people that are like controllers of the world, and have been, their families and all that, they know they can't hold back the truth anymore. So like, no matter what, the truth is going to come out. They're just trying to control how it comes out. It's coming out, and they're just trying to control it right now. No matter what they do, it's coming out. It's good versus evil. We could see that. They're just trying to control how it comes out. And maybe they can for a little while, but they're not going to be able to control the change from the death thing. That when he establishes his kingdom back and gives everybody their inheritance that they lost, a human race lost, they can't control that. They have no control, but they can, for a little short time, and I don't know how long that is. I think it's really short. They'll be able to play games for a while, but it isn't long. I'll tell you that much.
So there is, as you would say, if I'm paraphrasing correctly, there is some inevitable coming.
Oh yeah, no doubt in my mind. We're at the end, and you could tell by, and you don't need a Bible to tell you. You don't need a seer or a shaman. All you got to do is read the Bible yourself, and then look at the sky. God said he's going to use the stars and the moon and the heavens to tell you where you're at, right? We never seen so many comets ever. We had blood moons landing on Jewish feast days 8 times. We had solar eclipses. The constellations are lining up in the same alignment as when Jesus came the first time, and they only happened once before. That's when Jesus came the first time, and now here they are lining up again. he said, look for those things, right? You don't need anybody to tell you and you don't got to know the day or the hour. Everybody's like, you don't know the day or the hour. Well, I don't need to know. All I got to do is be able to read the Bible and say, okay, you're going to see these things. You're going to see knowledge increase. Hey, we've been eating dirt forever. And now all of a sudden, look at what we're doing. We're broadcasting all over the world and they can see our image. Like, when in history did that happen? We just got in a car and drove to another state in an hour and came back, right? I mean, like,
and we saw the center of the universe.
We did.
Did we not?
We did.
We did.
But I'm saying we're at the end of an age now. We're at the time where the Bible says we're going to get our inheritance back. What Adam and Eve lost for us, we're going to get back. And then who knows what that looks like? I don't know. It doesn't really describe all that. It just tells you when you see all these things, get ready because it's happening. And I see it.
When you got things like the Hubble Space Telescope, right? They can see God knows how far, right?
Yeah.
When you got people like Buzz Aldrin, who I guarantee you, he's been to space, right?
Oh, yeah.
He supports Trump, but he's been to space. Who knows what all he has seen, the number of times he's been in space, right? Who knows how much all he's been seeing? Yeah, he said he's seen pictures of the Earth and all that stuff, pictures of the moon and all that stuff, but what else has he seen as he's been in space, right?
That they won't let him say. So, but I believe you're right. He's been on the other side of the moon too. Probably seen that side of it. I believe that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If Trump does end up, declassifying a lot of this stuff, and we see, ABC, XYZ, and we see that these pilots that, these Air Force pilots over the years, even from World War II, that have seen these things, seen these unexplained things throughout the history of the country, plus people like Buzz Aldrin, who probably, if Trump declassifies these stuff, and once Trump does declassify these stuff, he can come out and say, okay, I've seen ABC, X, Y, and Z as I've been working in the program, the space program, when I was working in the space program, and these people like that, and look, we know basically where they get these people that go in the space program, generally speaking. Now, I don't know where Musk gets his pilots, but back in the day, generally speaking, the pilots for the Gemini and Apollo and such, and even for the space shuttle, came from the military, right?
Yeah.
Generally speaking, So they probably, as they were seeing things, in the military, maybe as they were seeing things as pilots in the military, they say, okay, I want to see more of this stuff. And so I'm going to apply to go into space to get into the Apollo, Gemini, and all that stuff program to see what more I can see,
I agree.
If we get back,
they're the top gunners.
Yeah. And if we haven't been everywhere tonight, we're certainly on the way.
We've been to the center of the universe.
To everywhere. We've been
right?
to the center of the universe, by God. That's it. Do you have a photograph of that, by the way, on your phone?
I think so.
Okay. We're making kind of an inside joke. I live in North Idaho. There's a little teeny town that's actually cute as hell off of I-90. And it's a little teeny town called Wallace in Idaho. And some mayor of that town got it into his head that he claimed that Wallace is the center of the universe and had some kind of a manhole cover emblazoned and welded in the middle of Bank Street, I think it is, there we go. Okay, let me show this. This, folks, I hope you're sitting down. This, you're going to go, ooh, this is, here. I need to make my screen a little bit bigger. Here we go.
Yeah, somebody told me we should open that and see if it's really the center.
This is the center of the universe. If you read it, it's upside down. This is in the middle of Bank Street in Wallace, Idaho. And it's a manhole cover. And it does say, read upside down, the center of the universe, Wallace, Idaho. So that's why Alan Thomas and I say, yes, we have been to the center of the universe. Because, okay, refute that. Tell me that
right smack in the middle of it.
Refute it that we haven't been to the center of the universe. Good luck with that. Well, we started out with Bigfoot, and we went all sorts of places. Mike, let me ask you one question before we move. Are you? What do we got there? Oh yeah, okay. And in Wallace, there's the official sign, by the way, indicating look below, and you will in fact see the center of the universe.
Yeah,
which is on Bank Street in Wallace, Idaho. Mike, are you fairly, I guess I could say, prepared? And we're going to have to wrap this up in about a minute. I'm going to have to take a break. Are you okay with going away, with passing? Do you feel settled? Do you feel calm? Do you feel frightened?
No. I mean, look, I believe if you know your Bible and you know what is said in it, and you know, for instance, Ezekiel 38 and 39, when it talks about all these countries that are going to come, all these tribes that are going to come against Israel, right? And we see that a lot of the tribes, the countries that are coming against Israel are the successors of these tribes that are in 38 and 39 of Ezekiel. I mean, confidence, you know your Bible, confidence says that it's like my preacher says, God said it, that settles it. It don't matter if you believe it or not.
Okay. And with that, I'm going to have to take a break. I'm BZ. That's Alan Thomas.
Good seeing you, Mike.
And yes, thanks, Mike, for the phone call. The phone lines will be open. And when I return, it's the final half hour. And if you have anything that you wish to drink, and by God, I want to say that I got to at least one video tonight. So I want to get to a video. Thanks for being here. I greatly appreciate it in these strange, tumultuous times, because I can guarantee you in my however many years, my beginning of my 8th decade, I haven't seen this crap before, and I don't think most anybody else does. I'm BC. Come right back, please.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Come listen to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. Live on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Rumble channel, SHR Media YouTube channel, X, Twitch, Spreaker, and wherever great conservative podcasts are found. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, guides you through the maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Raised as a free-range child with dirt, stains, mud, and freedom, BZ broadcasts from North Idaho, comfortably surrounded by actual normal people. Jump into our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room on rumble.com. Click on live chat to join. Now, with 37% more umbrage and 19% more bulbosity than previous shows, featuring delicious Liberty additives for the best in late-night Conservatarian talk radio. BZ reminds you that with great beard comes great responsibility. No chinchillas were harmed, embarrassed, fat-shamed, or the focus of any sarcasm whatsoever in the making of this ad.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? Coming in November to SHR Media. By way of Big E Jackson, you need to check out Mission Ready Men. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man, as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson, coming this November on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And I am BZ. Welcome back to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. Thank you so kindly for watching tonight. One and all, everybody, thank you for being in chat. Thank you for being in Rumble chat, Rumble Cat, Rumble Dog, Rumble Rhino, and all others. Thank you for being in the YouTube chat. Actually, a lot more people are in the YouTube chat. And thanks for, if you happen to be watching this after the live presentation, thank you for that. Thank you for watching in podcast. I'm BZ on the left, and on the right is Alan Thomas. We started talking about Bigfoot. This is part 2 of part 1 that we instigated a week ago, Thursday night, and we left a cliffhanger, and some people were upset with us that we didn't complete the show because, the 2 hours were up. And I'm on KLRN, and you kind of have to keep within the time frames of that. And by the way, KLRN, thanks for carrying us too. I greatly appreciate that. So thanks, Rick. And to everybody watching, well, we've been everywhere tonight. I'd like to go back just for a second and make reference to this. These are Bigfoot sightings, and you can see the states, which are orange. Even though I'm colorblind, I do know my colors. The orange states have the biggest amount of Bigfoot sightings. And then I wanted to ask Alan Thomas about this. This is the BFRO, Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. So having looked at that, Alan Thomas, can you tell me anything in particular about this organization? Is it credible? Is it actually is it interested in investigating and accurately researching Bigfoot sightings?
It's probably the biggest database of Bigfoot sightings in the world.
Okay.
And they do, everything's credible that you see on there, the reports, and everything is good. there's really good people on there. The only thing they do that I think might be that I think shouldn't be is there's a lot of reports, probably the better ones, and maybe the ones that have evidence and stuff like that. They kind of hide that doesn't make it on the website. But that said, I mean, they might be still investigating it. I don't know. I wish they would have them there. But if you do go on there, it'll give you, it's a good gauge to see where all Bigfoot's been seen. And you can check your county or your state, and there'll be some there. And I'm not saying that's the end all amount of them. A lot of people don't report them.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So, but only it'll give you an idea. Was there any in your county or state? Like where in my county, they I think they only have like 11 or something like that. But I know myself personally, I had 5, and I didn't report all of them. And I know a whole bunch of people, probably 100, that have encounters and sightings and all kinds of stuff, and they're not in there. So, but only you can, it's a good thing to look at, and it'll even tell you where you see like there's 6 instead of 2. You can probably bet there's hundreds there, and that you're in a hot place if you see 6 on that.
Well, for example, if you're interested in going there, folks, it's BFRO.net, BFRO.net. And of course, it's not going to have a compilation of every sighting, so to speak. But you made mention of something that I found very interesting there. And we talked about this, about other personnel earlier today who tend to be information hoarders. I've worked for them and around them. What would be the advantage or the reason for, let's say this is occurring with the BFRO, they're holding, maybe they're a little too Freudian, but they're kind of anal retentive. What's the purpose of holding, I guess, the good stuff and not letting it out if they're trying to create verification and let this be a professional investigative unit? What's the point if you've got something really cool? I'm just going to sit on it and not talk to anybody about it. That never makes sense to me.
It doesn't to me either, unless it makes them feel like they're, knowledge is power type thing. I know more. I am the expert because I am sitting on all the knowledge and nobody can be like me, I don't know.
Okay. I thought maybe you had a ready answer, but okay.
It always baffles me too. Like, why aren't they just letting it out?
Yeah. And that's a story for another day. I wanted to play this. I don't know if you've seen this. There are tons of videos, and this will be only the second time that I happen to have seen this. I'm going to turn up the audio in case there happens to be audio. But here's somebody, and just like the consumption of news, caveat emptor, buyer beware. You have to be a knowledgeable consumer of news, and you have to be a knowledgeable consumer of everything that goes on around you. So, is this valid? It says Bigfoot staring at the camera. Okay. I'm assuming he's meaning this. So, Alan Thomas, it continues on mostly like that. What I have to ask, however, is, in your experience, could someone during the day, is it customary, is it common for someone to be able to get that close to an alleged Sasquatch or Bigfoot?
Even closer.
Closer.
Even. And still not even see it even. I don't know if that's real. It did move. Okay, this video, it wasn't moving, completely not moving. They do that. And then they peek, they do that where they're standing there. And I don't know if it thought he couldn't see it or if he wasn't seeing it. But when it moved, it also hid behind a tree that was real small, and it was real big, but it happened to be able to hide behind that tree. They do that. But that also could be done. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but only they do that. Like I've been told at least 50 times that the Bigfoot was looking around the tree and then would hit back, and the tree was, like 10 inches, but the Bigfoot's 5 feet, but it was able to hide behind it. And I don't know how they do that, but they do in real life. They do.
Okay, then let me ask you, because I've got a couple more videos that I'd like to play before the end of the show. And what I'd like to do is for you to gauge their credibility from 0 to, yeah, I find this quite credible.
Okay.
And so on the previous one, any thoughts of a scale of 1 or 0 being it's bullshit to 10 being this appears quite credible?
I'm like on a 6 on that one.
Okay.
Leaning towards it being kind of real, but then, I'm more than 50%.
Okay. Let's play this one and see what you think about this.
Oh boy.
Okay. Now
that one I'm 100% sure fake.
Okay.
You can see the mask on the dude. I mean, you could buy that mask.
Yeah. And the hair, from what I've seen, we're not going to have enough time for me to go into my little, and I told you about this story probably 4 years ago, driving back with Mrs. BZ.
Yeah.
On Highway 20, I think it was, passing Clear Lake. I think I may have had a Bigfoot sighting, but it wasn't a big Bigfoot. I think it was a youngster. And I can tell everybody about that in another day. I wanted to play this because we played the Patterson Gimlin film last time, and this is going to have some narration to it, but I want everybody I go back to this as the index case of I believe this that I'm going to play. I believe this is an accurate film. This is 1967. This is Bluff Creek, Northern California. 2 dudes riding horses, and they capture this on film, actual film, back in 1967. And to me, after having looked at this and any number of films where they managed to isolate and stabilize the film with technology, I don't think you could not have replicated that in 1967. Yeah. But I just want to show everybody this. And this is why, to me, this is very convincing.
That's right. We have our own sightings here in Australia. We don't call them Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Here we call them Yowies. So let's have a look at this famous footage. And these are the things that I noticed when I looked at this creature's walk cycle. And the first thing I noticed were the hands and the arm swing. Because the creature's hands are open until it reaches its peak swing, and then they close. And they only close momentarily before opening again. And it does.
I'm still of the opinion that this is not a guy in a suit. Any number of films where they're viewable, that is to say they have been stabilized, continues to prove to me that this is some of the best evidence that I've seen. Here's another one that I'd like to play. This is entitled, this is a YouTube short, Real Bigfoot Sighting in Canada last year in June.
You guys can just see one here. We just see one here. Look at he's way back there. We're walking the trail here. Oh my God. He's back here, boys. over here. Oh, I see him back there. He's way back there. You see him? It's a blonde one too. He's just peeking right here. Right here. He's staring at us. This fucker.
Okay, I'm missing that.
I can't zoom any further there, boys, but that's it right there. Look at him. He's just up there. Oh, there he is. He's moving. Where did he go here? Where did he go?
I'm missing this. So, the point of me playing that is there are tons of videos like this. And okay, in the moment, you may believe that you're experiencing a true encounter with something not an ape from Africa, for example. Okay, I get that. And or there have been any number of things that have been staged poorly. I get that. Now, the reason I played that is just for a moment in there, and I'm sure you heard there a little, like maybe a rock.
That sounded real too.
Yes, or a branch or something like that going on. The reason I believe that is because earlier in this video, you could hear a fly. You could hear the in the background. So the audio, I think, is accurate. Let me see if I can find.
That's like a lot of people say. I don't know if it's for true, but a lot of people I've talked to off and on over the years that had encounters, they say they see him do that like with their lip, like or something like that, and that's what that sounded like. But I've watched them. I didn't see them, but I've watched trees fall down or go down, and I know they were there. I know they did it because I watched the tree fall. I couldn't see the base of the tree, but I watched the tree go down. I heard it go, and then 20 minutes later, at the same place, there goes another one. And then all night long, they were throwing rocks at my tent. All night long. Talk about freaking me out.
Let's go to another one that I have here, because I've still got about 11 minutes yet before the show. Mountain Bigfoot shows true strength. And one of these, if I'm not mistaken, has some audio.
So I don't know what to think about that one.
Yeah.
You know that?
And this is where we're looking.
I know a man can't do that. And the way things tosses around the tree, I don't know, It's hard to tell. But I want to say it's real, though. Like, you see anybody be able to move a log like that? Like that.
But I find these interesting.
Like that. Like, can you pick up a log like that? Just straight up and then toss it? No. I don't think anybody could do that.
But I show these because there are a ton of these on the internet. And I think I have 2 more. I'm going to hold on to this.
It's a trip. And what I think it hurts is people, the ones that do make up shit, and then put it on there and then they make it like it's real and they say it's real, and then you find out it was fake.
Yeah.
But only what that does is make everybody think everything's fake.
Right. It's like, it's like a fake hate crime. When you have fake hate crimes, all that does is denigrate the crimes that actually occur, and it muddies the water, and you're pooping in the punch bowl of everyone else, and it's just not fair. Let me play another one here, and let me know what you think about this one.
Oh, I love that.
Now, this is the reason I played this for you. You have captured, along with another individual, audio of Sasquatch. And I wanted to play this because I wanted to get your opinion. Is this something that you find valid or similar to things you've experienced? So on a scale of 0 being, yeah, it's complete bullshit, to 10 being valid, where do you think you will place that?
I'm putting it at an 8.
Okay.
Because it could be faked, but it sounds pretty good, like I've had them roar at us. We were out there and it roared 10 times at us. And we were getting the heck out of there. At a good mile away, it roared and it sounded like King Kong and a lion at the same time. And I could feel it like in me. Like, I mean, my insides were vibrating, and it was a mile away, and it got closer. Every time it did it, it was closer. And man, we were making tracks out of there, but I was waiting for King Kong to come busting out of the trees. I mean, that's what I thought was going to happen.
So you've heard these and you've seen these and you've had things like this throw objects at you, correct? Yeah. You've had them throw, I don't know, rocks, branches, things.
And I watched them knock 3 trees over.
Things of that nature. So
in like 40 minutes, 300-foot trees got broke at the 10-foot level. Now, I didn't know that until the next day. I saw the 3 trees go down, but it was almost dark. It was getting dark, and I wasn't going to go out there. The next morning, got up and went out there and found the trees laying there, and they were within 6 feet of each other. 3 of them. Not coincidence. The first one was like, whoa, trees do make a noise, right? I mean, that's what we were thinking. And then all of a sudden, 20 minutes later, and you look over and you see another one going down almost in the exact same spot. You're like, wait a minute. Wow, that's kind of weird. And then 20 minutes later, another one. It was like, oh, shit, like that is not a coincidence. Something's over there. Then it threw little rocks at our tent all night long, little bitty ones. And it was hitting the tent and roll down, hit the tent, roll down, hit the tent, roll down. And you could hear them off in the distance talking. Kind of sounds like, sounds just like that. And they did that all night.
I want to end the show with this video, and this is just an excerpt. I watched, and I'm sure you've seen it probably in any number of times, Ellen Thomas. There's a video by a guy named Todd Standing, and I really haven't heard much of him since, although my finger is certainly not on the pulse of what's going on in the world of Bigfoot or Sasquatch. But after watching this, I guess you could call it a documentary. This Plus You. Now, this is a 2017 documentary, right. My alleged sighting, and I don't know how to quantify it, except that's what I think I saw was a juvenile Bigfoot, Sasquatch. This documentary convinced me. Now, it's a little dramatic. It's a little melodramatic in the way it's edited and the way he tramps through the forest and the music and whatnot. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. He's trying to make something that's saleable. I get that.
That is what he's doing.
But there's some things in there that convinced me that that's Bigfoot. And let me see if I can bring this up. These are just a few excerpts. It's not very long, but it'll give you a little bit of a taste about the film and what he's seen.
If it was all that I got, it would have never been proven as Bigfoot. Here's one of the photographs. This looks like an artist's drawing, but it's not. It's actually a photograph. I just had to crank up the contrast and brightness and saturation so you could have a good look and see his eyes and his nose and his fur. And if it was all that I got, it would have never been proven as Bigfoot.
Okay, now that's just for lack of a better word, a mini sampling of that video. You've seen it. Alan Thomas, any thoughts of that Todd Standing documentary discovering Bigfoot? I found myself predominantly convinced.
I'm pretty sure, like, it would be hard for him to fake it. People say he did, but only he's still on the internet active today, and I follow him.
Is he still doing Bigfoot investigations?
Oh yeah, yeah, he
And
does. And he's up in Canada, and I can't remember radium or something like that in Canada. The area, he didn't give away where he was for the longest time, but now he does, and he takes people up there, even people, other Bigfooter people, and they have encounters, right? They even, what's his name, all famous people that he takes them up there and they have encounters, things he can't do. Like in the middle of the night, he'll be sitting there with them, and then these things come flashing by real fast, making the ground shake and everything. And I mean, there's no way he could fake it. So I believe he's onto something, and he wouldn't keep, just like me, he continues to go and go and go, and everybody doesn't believe me either. But he's got some evidence, some of it, like maybe that right there. I don't know how he would fake that guy. And then he has the ones where they take the apples.
Yeah,
and
that was a very interesting little experiment that he pulled on that.
Yeah, and then the one where it runs up the hill, and you can time how fast it goes, and then he runs up the hill. They do things we can't do, and there's no way you could reproduce that. You know what I mean? Like, if something does something that a human can't do, then what is it? And I agree with them. What is it? If it ran up the hill in 2 seconds, and then it takes him 10 seconds, and he's a big dude. I mean, he's running. You could tell he's trying. He's really trying to do it, and he can't do it like that. What is it? Because I've seen him, and they can run. They can run so graceful. They can climb. They'll go up a cliff like this, a rock, straight up cliff, and it looks like they're on an elevator. They just go right up. Just as smooth as can be, no effort whatsoever. It's like, it's something that would take a man a day, like rock climbing up to the top. And this thing just goes just like it was on an elevator, fast, and then right over the top. And you're standing there going, after it ran 100 yards in 5 seconds. So it'll run 100 yards in 5 seconds to the rock and then go straight up.
And I would believe that. And there's a very good reason why I believe that. Up until 2021, I lived in a little town in Northern California, always spelled with a K, near a teeny town called Alta, about 4,000 feet. And one early morning, I was going up a very steep hill, and I saw what was a brown bear. And there was a very steep hill, not 90-degree hill, but maybe 80 degrees. And the brown bear went zip past my headlights and then went up this hill. As you say, it's like this fat thing managed to climb. It was obviously a bear, okay? I'm guessing it was a brown bear, maybe a black bear, but it was a bear. It was not a Bigfoot, none of that. But it went bish
right up the hill.
Right up that hill. This fat thing managed to do that. So with me, I certainly believe that. Now, question for you and for anybody and everybody else. Folks, Alan is going to be here. He leaves at 0:30, literally, on Sunday morning. And then that will be the culmination of you having been here for 3 weeks. And it's been an honor.
I've been having a great time.
And it's just been very, very cool. So it's Thursday night. Thursday is almost wrapped up. What's that? I missed it.
Oh, you're the best.
Oh, thank you. So we only have Friday and Saturday really to do anything. And there's such a big difference. There's a huge difference between talking to someone on a video and then actually being able to, I'm 4 feet from you, speaking to you. We don't have to worry about video
and no time constraint
interfering with, you said something and then I cut you off and you said something and then it's just a lot easier to have you in here. So we have 2 more nights.
It's pretty fun.
And the question remains, and I don't know. I gotta come pick you up at 4 a.m. on Sunday so that you can get out of here by 6. So probably a late night Saturday is out. So likely the only day we have to do maybe another show would be tomorrow night.
We could.
So the big question is, to anybody that happens to be in chat or listening live right now, or happens to be listening in podcast, and we don't have to do a 2-hour show. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But would you be interested in coming back and just kind of extending some of this stuff? Because like every other show with you that I've been on, this is just like stream of consciousness. And I promoted the show over here and we kind of went there, but mostly we went way over here. So it could go anywhere. It could do anything.
Hopefully everybody liked it.
There are still almost as many people here now in the show as there were at the beginning.
Yeah.
So nobody went, oh, I'm falling asleep, nighty night, because it's 1. We're officially in overtime, a little bit overtime right now. It's 1:04 on the East Coast and 12:04 Central and 10:04 Pacific.
Yes, 3 clocks. He knows what time it is everywhere he's saying.
Yeah, because I've got some clocks up there for Pacific, Central, and Eastern. And thanks to everybody in chat. Sean in chat, Jan in chat. Thanks for communicating with us. Sai is in chat from South Africa. So thanks, South Africa in the room. How very cool is that? So anyway, folks, we may be back tomorrow night. I'm going to check with Rick at KLRN to see if I'm not interfering with something, or maybe he can stream later. But I'm going to be really sad to see Alan go. There's just nothing like having somebody live that you like, that you enjoy, and speaking with them in the studio in the same place. It makes things so much easier and so much more cool. So excuse me just for a second, if we can find the time, this will be our final show until the next time that Alan Thomas comes back. And I will always have Alan on the show.
Yeah, I'll be that's the one good thing about the internet and stuff like
that.
Yeah. We could do
Alan, because if you haven't already, Alan will be getting StreamYard, and then Alan will be going to Rumble, and then he will be updating his own show. And so I will always have Alan on as long as I happen to be alive and I am above ground at this point, which is always a good thing as far as I'm concerned. Although, like Blue Oyster Cult says, don't fear the Reaper.
Right.
There really isn't that much to say. Oh, look, Cy Tyson in chat says, you just got kudos, young man. Alan is a brilliant guest.
Why, thank you.
So, Thanks
But
to everybody here.
I have brilliant followers. We have brilliant
Well,
people
yes,
in the audience. Man.
those are facts in evidence. So if we can maintain our sanity and nothing really silly or stupid occurs, then we're going to try to see if we can come back tomorrow night and do kind of a similar show. Because initially I said, we'll do paranormal, we'll do UFOs, we'll do Bigfoot. And then we ended up doing prayers and Bible and center of the universe. And let's talk about God, and let's talk about Jesus, and let's talk about why we don't fear death. Yeah. So it went all of those places and simultaneously nowhere and none of them as well. So anyway, that's Alan Thomas. I got to go take him back to his motel. Say goodbye to Alan. Good night, Alan.
Good night, guys.
And I am BZ. One each. Thank God. Most people say for that. And so we should theoretically, unless something else occurs, we should be back tomorrow night, and we'll be doing another show. It'll be the last one that Alan is able to do in the studio live. And in the meantime, so what I mean is this, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening and watching BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show live and direct right here on Rumble, on the SHR Media YouTube channel, X, Twitch, shrmedia.com, and a host of other places where great conservative podcasts can be found. And of course, this show I would be remiss if I didn't say something similar to promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, and also by Shure and Electro Voice microphones, and by Arrakis boards, and by Pratt & Whitney engines thrust. You can trust. Tiaras, as per normal, are by My Little Pony. And thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be consorting in less than 10 minutes. But I'm not going to drink and drive, only after I take Alan back to his motel and then I come back myself. I know you were worried about that. I don't do that. So, thanks to everybody for listening live. Thanks for listening in podcast. Thanks for being involved in chat. We're going to try to be back tomorrow night. I'll do the promos for it. Everybody, God bless. Take care. Be safe.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody. Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben. Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.